I think we're having an audio-visual
volume
problem.
Is the audio not coming through?
Not coming through at all. Luckily, this is happening for the AV person on our staff. Hi, everybody. This is a very special Church of Failure. It's going to be...
Is it the
church?
Special?
It's going to be it's the special episode called The Failure of the Church in D&D.
DNDon't.
DNDon't.
I do like DNDon't.
Rune's going to be here later to do his due, but we all came together for a first for the show. We all watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie together.
So I watched like 10 minutes of it over the course of an hour.
I mean, you watched more than
That's
10
probably
minutes.
more than I would have. I was present for it, but I didn't watch it.
All right, let's try this again.
All right.
Man, where my friend John said he found a body in the bushes over there. I ran over there because I'm a huge monk to try to help. Obviously, my magic wasn't strong enough because the body was missing a head. So my friend decided to answer spell, which didn't work, which I knew it wouldn't. And apparently, we contaminated the crime scene because that spell uses a lot of glitter.
Welcome to the D&D cast, everybody.
Rune, we're supposed to be in digital blackface. What's wrong with you?
I am wearing digital blackface. I'm not a fucking dragon.
I mean, that's
But
just
it's
what a
green.
dragon would want
It's
you
not-
to believe.
It's not black though, Rune. Come on.
I am a proud member of the scaly community as a furry.
Oh, of course
I'm wearing
you
scale
are.
face.
Oh.
No, I
Oh.
no, I am not a scaly. If anything, it tells you a lot that my former housemate, the insane weed addict, who decided after he moved out of my house that he was trans and was quite possibly the worst drag queen I've ever seen, used to insist that my home was a scaly household. So it's like, no, I'm not into that filth. No, this is because we were discussing being the Council of Reptiles that we're going to judge a movie.
I mean, hold up. If Rune is going to be wearing something that's appropriate for the movie we're going to be reviewing, I need to switch up my avatar to something appropriate
Uh-oh.
for what we're watching.
I mean, are you not in the form of a like a tiger tank? Are you not a girl und Panzer?
Well, that is Girl in Panzer for FBI, but now I'm appropriate for the D&D movie.
Oh, and good, because we're going to talk about knife ears and their filthy subhuman ways.
I mean, they didn't even have any of our people.
No, they did. They just were so nondescript you didn't see it. The sorcerer was a knife ear with shitty
No. He was not. He was a half elf. He was a degenerate half elf.
Oh, I see. He was a misgeneration. And then when they went to the village with the tiefling broad who was pointless, she was in an elf village. It was full of elves. Elves are apparently mostly black people. Which is
some of them were Indian.
Right.
A couple were Mexicans.
But still, the vast majority of elves being brown was a weird surprise. Because now we're, in their zeal to be representational, they're actually insisting on black violence.
Well, I mean, they're going to be bringing Drizzt in when they make the sequel to this movie.
I know. I saw it, and I want to die. I want to not live on this fucking planet. I am going to have to put up with so many Drizzt wannabes if I be like, hey, guys, you want to run some D&D? Because they're going to come out of the fucking woodwork.
They just finally started dying down, too.
You thought they were bad before, be it in your books and your video games. Now they're going to be on fucking TV everywhere. Everyone.
And I mean,
hi, Miss Rena.
And also, what's worse is Drizzt is just a ripoff of Elric.
Well, it's actually the worst ripoff of Elric.
I'm just going to start playing Morgoth.
I mean, if you want to swap your avatar to Morgoth, I'm down.
Okay.
Well, I mean, no.
Yeah.
Church has an appropriate avatar. Church is in a warforged in the shape
Right.
of a church.
Right, he's a divine warforged. He's bringing
Okay,
us the
so
word.
but before we get too down this rabbit hole that has nothing to do with this movie, Larry, you were getting us set up while I was trying to get the audio to work on that video.
Yeah, I was talking about how we were gonna talk about the Dungeons and Dragons movie that we all watched together.
Get your
and
shit
all
together, High Elf.
It all four of us didn't care for the movie, and this is gonna be a treat. It's gonna be a treat.
Well, oddly enough, while we were taking our break from the damage, I ran into a young lady, and she asked, what are you doing tonight? And I explained what I was doing tonight. And I said, we're probably reviewing a movie. And she's like, what movie? I'm like, we're probably reviewing the D&D movie. And she was like, don't spoiler it for me. I'm like, I won't do that. Right? And then she asked me, what did you think? Right? And so I laid it out as carefully as possible. And she said, oh God, I'm going to hate this. And I said, I'm not trying to poison the well for you. And she's like, no, I knew I was going to hate it before. I just needed to know.
So
Hold up. We got a Chinese bot that liked the thing about this movie being live. So we have Chinese bots in the audience.
Oh, wow. The most important of Hasbro representatives. Chinese bot.
hell yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna check out this Chinese bot. Oh, that is like super Chinese.
Is Chinese bot gonna love us a long time?
Show the Chinese bot on the screen for the rest of the audience.
Okay, hold on. Let me get back to the top of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce our special guest star, Chinese bot.
So
Anyway, is there a did we put out a announcement about this shit? We did. Good.
Yeah,
Good. Because
so-
before we get too deep into this, I want to send the link around.
So first we have a retweet from coupons.com for some sunblock. Then we have a retweet of a video of some chick getting off a helicopter. Then we
Posted
have
by
somebody
Chad
saying, I'm proud of...
Ochocinco Johnson.
Yes. And then let's see, I'm proud of you, Franklin. And then a retweet from Fox Business about states exploring tax cuts. And then
a retweet for the National Guard.
Oh, this is great. Okay. Anyways, so what I was going to say before we got interrupted by the bot is, as the D&D outsider.
Well, give me a second.
There's, huh?
Well, you're not really an outsider. You're D&D adjacent.
Yeah.
I
I
to
have-
get you in a proper D&D game.
Here's the thing, guys. I have just dropped the link in the OSR Gilded, so we may have an influx of bodies who are coming to hear our review.
I hope they're naked.
I doubt it. I doubt they're going to be naked.
But what I appreciated in our watching of this, Rune and I were both imagining this movie in the same way. We were imagining this as a shitty D&D session.
All right, I updated my avatar, guys. I'm Morgoth now.
All right. So Rune and I imagined this movie as a shitty D&D campaign, and that's our way to review this movie and not spoil it for anybody in the audience who wants this to be spoiler. So the DM is like going, "Hey everybody, I got a cool Neverwinter module that I want to run a campaign on," and everybody's like going, and then they were like going, "Oh, great, but only 2 people showed up." So the DM had to like salvage something like, "Okay, so you're in a prison. I mean, I want you all to be in the prison at the start of the campaign so I can introduce you like in, the usual suspects. But you all ruined that. So thanks, guys. All right. And how are you going to get out of the prison?" "Well, we're in prison. We don't have any equipment. And there's a prison in Neverwinter." Or what was the name of the place again?
Icewind Dale.
In Icewind Dale. So there's ice and snow everywhere. It's like, all right, look, I'll put you in front of a parole board. They have a parole board in Faerun? What the shit? All right, fine. So I'm gonna roll to bluff the parole board. Okay, so you're gonna try
real quick, I have to issue a correction. I'm not Morgoth. I'm Melkor.
Very good, very good.
Well, either way, I mean, this podcast is about family.
Exactly. So, like, you go, okay, you're gonna bluff the parole board so they give you parole. No, I'm gonna bluff the parole board so I can kidnap the Aarakocra member of the parole board and fly him out of the prison. You what?
Look, I want to mention, since we're laying into this one, we're gonna be pretty severe grognard. From an objective standpoint, if this was a game, that's actually brilliant, and I would allow that madness. I would let that cheese happen.
And that's why I think I have one slight tweak that they could have done with this movie that I think would have made all of you like it a lot better.
Well, we're going to get to that in a moment.
Well,
it's obviously also, other than having more Wayans brothers in this movie.
I mean, it's also worth pointing out with regards to that particular scene that having allowed that bullshit, I would also deal with the consequences, which means they're on the fucking lam and the cops are after them now.
Yeah. So they fly on the Aarakocra and they wander around and like going, okay, so how many rolls are you gonna make us do for travel? What? Yeah, because we're like weeks, if not months, away from where we need to go for the rest of the campaign.
Oh no, this is a thing.
Oh, God damn it!
This is actually.
God damn it!
Yeah, but Larry, this is actually a to-the-minute thing being argued about right now between the OSR and the Sparkle Trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I kid you not, currently in the what we will nebulously call D&D community, although that term is fucking bullshit, right? You have people who pride themselves on never having read the DMG. All right, people who think that knowing how to roll randomness and then deal with that on the fly is some kind of esoterica lost art, and that you have to plan everything in advance, and it's a super railroad. Okay, and one of those things that they like to do is hand wave travel time. So a real DM, a real player, a real serious aficionado understands that you deal with travel time because it creates difficulty, challenge, and a sense of urgency. If you have shit you got to get done immediately.
Right. But the DM of this campaign isn't doing any of that shit.
Right. No.
He only has two players. A bunch of players skipped out on him. He doesn't want to have two people just rolling rolls.
But for clarity, they also present it like travel time is a non-issue and everything is super jelly, so it doesn't have the sense of tension that, say, the drone flyovers in Lord of the Rings had, where even though they're running on foot overland in a nice green field, you get the sense that if they could get horses and they could go faster, they effing would.
Yep.
No.
And so
the whole game is done at a gentle jog.
And so they steal some horses and they go to their starting village, where for some reason Chris Pine's house has been stolen. But he gets his starting gear.
Not that anyone tries to stop them, not that there's any test to actually steal those horses, not that the fact that they're adding theft on top of escaping prison to their list of crimes will ever come up.
No. And so they go sit in the bar, and then they get their first hint of a clue of the plot of the game, and then they go to Neverwinter. Now, this movie, this DM, played fast and loose with the map of Faerun, which doesn't bother me because Faerun is the most boring kitchen sink fantasy setting ever created by man. Like, if I were to go to an AI art bot and say, I want a fantasy setting that has all the flavors of fantasy in it, it would make something less dull than Faerun.
Ed Greenwood, if you are somehow in the audience, we apologize for talking shit about your baby. It's not you, it's what people do with it that's bad.
To quote George Lucas, it's what the white slavers did with his baby when they got him.
And Miss Rena, I would love to talk about how stats work in D&D at a later time when I am not on the podcast. You want to kill this podcast? I'll start talking about math.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit because the other thing about this movie that bothered me, and because this is a movie about the 5th edition and its players, both metatextually and textually. So the movie starts off by talking.
It's about family.
The movie talks about the Harpers,
It's about
which is
ethics and gaming journalism, honestly, guys.
exactly. So it talks about the Harpers, and that was one of the things that pissed off RuneKnight and I, because we hate the Harpers, we hate the factions in Faerun because they're dull.
What are the
They don't add
Harpers?
anything.
All right. In Faerun, they want you to think that there's a big, like, grand politics game where everybody is competing with everybody else.
But they don't have mechanics for that.
Well, they did in second ed, but that's neither here nor there. The Harpers is a elven-run, or at least elven-founded, divinely guided group of bards who travel everywhere and spy for the government. Okay? But they're based at a Silvermoon, so you have to give a shit about Silvermoon, and then you have to give a shit about Faerun, and then you have to give a shit about Faerun's politics for the Harpers to matter. You're an adventurer. You're going to the savage frontier. You don't give 2 fucks about the Harpers because nobody gives 2 fucks about the Harpers. Nobody has ever cared about any of the pre-made factions and their pre-made bullshit because nobody cares about Elminster and how he gets to bang the goddess of magic. It's never mattered.
Hold up, Rune. You can't say that because Elminster's trans because he changes genders periodically.
No, but what I really don't want to know, and what I think the people of the stream want to know, is how they interact with the Brotherhood of Steel.
There's no Brotherhood of Steel in Faerun. Faerun would be much better if there was one.
I want that. I want that crossover, though. I would love for a bunch of well-meaning D&D sorts, like Hamburger Club kids, special characters, to be like, the portal is opening, and then a fucking Brotherhood of Steel marches through and just begins to mow down targets because what they see is communism, and they're here to bring America with Liberty Prime, the ultimate Warforged.
That's how Warhammer 40K gets started.
and so Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, both of whom were doing far better of a job than this movie deserved.
They were really trying, and they are actually wasted in this movie. I can't be mad at them for the shittiness of the movie. It's not their fault.
They got a magical pamphlet that says, "Hey, your former partner Hugh Grant is now the Lord of Neverwinter,"
which is
actually
halfway neat. The magical pamphlet's pretty cool.
And he's hosted a big old blood sport. So come for the blood sport. And they're like going, "Hey,
come for the blood sport. Stay for the family."
I gave my plot device daughter to Hugh Grant's character. I should totally go there because she's part of my tragic backstory that I monologue. And we're all monologuing our backstory because this is 5th edition D&D. We're not going to talk about our backstory. We're just going to monologue about it. Because talking about it would be role-playing. And we don't have time for that.
Well, my 10-minute soliloquy is my role-play. Because having to be my character in between would be hard and scary. And I might have feelings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so they find out that Hugh Grant's character, a con man, lied about them to his plot device daughter. And while he had the political power to get them out of jail, he didn't. Now, these characters who are experienced thieves and, in the case of Chris Pine's character, an experienced operative for a quasi-governmental organization, don't ask some basic questions like, "Hey, why didn't he pull some strings to get me out of jail? Why didn't he do that?" Because if he asked those questions, then the movie wouldn't happen. And the evil wizard who hired them at the tavern, and I'm amused that the party got in trouble for being hired by an evil wizard at a tavern. It's cute. Trapped them, tried to get them set to be killed. We all saw that scene in the trailers that were released. And then they had to get the gang back together. And we assemble the shittiest party composition thief party ever conceived of by man.
No. It's not actually a bad party composition. It's really not. The problem is the players are shit. The players are
mean-
bad at their jobs.
I mean, who's checking for traps? Like at the first encounter with the full party, nobody was checking for traps.
Right.
Well,
You don't have
Tra-
that thief out there checking for traps.
Well, traps are gay.
The thing is that arguably there's enough perception going on in that party that theoretically any one of them should have been able to spot it. But either we either presume that no one was using their dice rolls, or that these fuckers have such terrible luck that they simply failed every single perception check.
And so, in our narrative of this being a D&D session, that the going out to get the gang back together, that was the end of session 1. So session 2, they got one of the people who was supposed to show up to come back to play, the shitty sorcerer, a wild magic sorcerer, which is objectively the most trash sorcerer build out there, and
Right, and it's a half elf, so it's even more subhuman than a regular elf.
exactly.
Oh, and remember, he's a cuck because he can't keep his red-headed, slutty demon girlfriend waifu because he lacks self-confidence.
And the player character of the tiefling druid is clearly the DM's girlfriend. That's why she was given bonus wild shaping abilities. She did wild shape in one scene of the movie 12 times, which is not how the rule book works. It's not how the rule book works at all.
Well, I'm actually curious here. So you keep talking. I'm going to shut up for once, and I'm going to go look something up. I'll be right back.
Mhm.
Oh shit.
And so they have a little scene where the sorcerer does something good. He uses Tensor's floating disc to pick pockets and stuff. That was kind of neat. Then there's a fight with the people he's picking the pockets of, and then Chris Pine's character's like going, "Hey, we need a druid to go in there, spy on them, get the dirt on how their vault works, so we can get in and rob it." I mean, you could get a diviner to do that. That would make sense. Getting a diviner, or you can get a dwarf. The dwarf would be knowledgeable at that, and make it to Ocean's 11. Assemble a crack team of adventurers who are all designed to rob the castle of the bastard played by Hugh Grant who stole your daughter. But then, nope, we get the druid, and the druid tells us her backstory after some implied bisexuality. Because again, this is the DM's girlfriend who's implying her bisexuality.
Which people then complained about because there wasn't enough sexuality.
Yeah, she was not gay enough. Even though
Cody Rhodes just kicked out of a rock bottom.
I mean, of course he did, because he's going to win the match.
I
So,
just want to know who the fuck told Roman Reigns he could do the rock bottom.
well, that's setting up Roman Reigns versus The Rock, where Roman's going to beat The Rock for a Rock no longer coming back to the WWE match. That's what's going to happen. But anyway, so the evil wizard reveals herself to be an evil wizard for what was the name of that faction again, Rune?
The Red Wizards of Thay.
They were
tell
called the institution.
No, they are literally the Red Wizards of Thay. That's always been their name. No, the real problem here is one, they are presented as being a wizardry of peace. Yeah, they're
Undead
wizardry of
Taliban.
peace, who all wear very obvious tattooing on their forehead. So of course, the one bitch who's walking around like she's a Bene Gesserit in a flowing robe with a hood, no one takes second shot to the fact that she's wearing a hat all the time and might be a goddamn Red Wizard of Thay. It's the least effective disguise ever.
Especially as we later see she can do some shape-shifting and polymorphing kind of stuff.
Right.
So
Is that
she
the one who
reveals
turned
herself.
into a snake and swam up Kevin Hart's butthole?
No,
No, that's
You're thinking
no,
about a
no,
different
that's the DM's girlfriend
Right.
later on.
Okay,
Wrong movie, Church.
wrong movie.
I don't think so. We all watched it together this afternoon.
So she was talking
Well,
to.
I had my socks on, so it wasn't gay.
So she was talking to the Lich, who is responsible for this scheme. And this is like, the DM doing a cutscene for the players, so they know what the bad guys are doing. Because again, you want to be cinematic in your game experience. And so also, the druid was there spying on everything. Because again, this is the DM's girlfriend and he's feeding her all the key plot points. So we go into the scene where Hugh Grant is introducing the man from Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate to his vault. Why did he introduce those men to the vault? Because we know what Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate are as D&D fans. We're selling the brand, saying places you know, so you can say, "Hey, I get that reference," just like Chris Evans.
Well,
Part-
the best example of this is the vault that must be broken into, which turns out to be worthless. Is
It's a sword.
is blocked by a ward placed by Mordenkainen, or using Mordenkainen's prowess, right? But they never explain who Mordenkainen is. They never explain where Mordenkainen's from or why Mordenkainen spells are important. Just like they have Tensor's floating disk, but never name or explain why that matters.
And they also have Bigby's hand, and they don't talk about that.
Right.
It's I know what that is. And then the wizard casts Detect Magic, which I would say is metagaming for the NPC to do that. But whatever. And she gets the DM's girlfriend, who says, I wild shape to get out. Okay. And I wild shape again. Okay. Then I go back to my human form. Okay, the guard comes after you. Then I wild shape again. Okay. Then I wild shape into a bird. Okay, the guard starts shooting.
You fuckers.
What?
All right. So, Unearthed Arcana under 5th Ed was readily available for one and all. Right? I wanted to go get my eyeballs on the changes they're doing to Druid to justify the bullshit in this movie, because that's what they're doing. They're changing Druid after the fact to say no, it's all okay. Right?
Because the Druid class is one that D&D wants to be more popular than it actually is.
Even though there's nothing wrong with it, it's just how they present the information. The new Druid is D&D 1. It's playtest material only. I can't see it unless I get a D&D Beyond account again, and I quit D&D Beyond in protest. They hit it because they know it's unfucking popular. They only want cultists to see it.
So she eventually goes down the chimney, and she goes into the city, and instead of staying as a tiefling, because again, who the fuck's gonna know you're the tiefling who was the druid earlier? She turns shape into an animal again. And then she turns shape into a deer, because that was a joke that was set up earlier. And then she escapes with the information of, oh, it's totally got Mordenkainen's seal on it, right? And then the sorcerer's like, oh, we can't get into there, unless I have the magical bullshit helm. And they're like, let's get the magical bullshit helm. Well, no one knows where it is. And it's like, oh, my ancestors totally knew where it was 100 years ago. We could just raise them from the dead and talk to them. And the sorcerer did a big speech like he can't solve every problem with magic. Well, I mean, except for that one, the other problem you're mentioning. And also, technically, the magical bullshit item, is a problem with magic that can be solved. And so they talk to some dead people, do a spell, they make a good joke about the spell. And the jokes are almost on point when they make them.
And the joke was pretty good until they played it into the fucking ground.
That's why 3 is the key joke comedy. If they had 3 jokes, then they needed the answer. But they found out where it was, and it was in the hands of the DM PC. So the DM in the 3rd session is like, okay, guys, we're going to the Underdark. What? Why are we going to the Underdark? Look, we're going to the Underdark because they downloaded this cool thing about the Underdark. We're going to have some Underdark encounters.
Right. Because no one was at this table to say, why did you put the powerful artifact that you don't want anyone to get their hands on, where no less than 4 different absolutely monocidal, dangerous enemy races will totally get their fucking hands on it?
A thing that just shuts off all the enchantments. Because, I mean, fuck it. Who wouldn't want that? So the DMPC is a super goody-goody paladin who's from the race of Taliban necromancers. Because why not?
Right. But of course, he's not loyal to Fae. He's just from there.
Yeah, he's just from And they decided to give him that whole Drax the Destroyer autism from the MCU movies, which is really weird. Of not understanding, irony and social metaphor. And he goes to Chris Pine and said, "Listen, man, I know you left the Harpers, and Rune and I both grown, but Harper's never left you, man. Harper is still inside you."
Why did the Harpers not keep him on retainer and pay his fucking bills so he didn't have to become a thief? Oh, wait, so a movie could happen. That's why.
Yes. And so they go into the Underdark, and the intellect devourers think the party's stupid, which again is the DM putting a not so subtle jab at his party during the campaign. And then they get the item.
Which is a fucking waste, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are listening to this, if people are watching this, I don't know who's watching, I'm not keeping track. And you think, wow, listening to these guys talk about this shit is really boring. Because Larry and I are really boring. I know you come here for Church and Ayrton, who are infinitely funnier than us. The thing is that what Larry is laying out, scene by scene, is accurate. This is how many not fights there are. There is so little action in this movie.
It's so accurate, I stopped listening to them talk 5 minutes ago.
Right.
And Rune, you're hilarious when we get you pissed off watching people eat cornstarch.
Oh, fuck you. And it's true.
And so because there wasn't a fight, we're going to have a whole bunch of Thay minions appear.
Well, we introduced an assassin that we never had any intention to do anything with. It was just cool, so we had to rent. We had to.
I forgot. I forgot about the assassin. He didn't do shit, did he?
He was the dude that the guy was sword fighting with. Mm-hmm. He showed up to the sword fight, which is totally how assassination works. Is you just show up, challenge a guy, and then stab him, right?
Mm-hmm. He was there to make the DMPC look cool.
I mean, I thought assassination involved sneaking up on somebody and stabbing them in the fucking kidney, but no. We'll walk up with a mob of dudes and fight him mano a mano in a cool scene. That's how assassinations work, everybody. We didn't have a guy on the grassy knoll. We didn't have fucking Oswald.
Hold on.
We just stabbed the president in the face in front of everybody.
You don't understand, Rune.
In Minecraft.
That's how they assassinated Boogie and Pot.
Minecraft.
So,
in Minecraft?
In Minecraft. So the assassins were only there to make the DMPC look cool.
Right.
And then the players are kind of complaining, like going, "Come on, we didn't even get to fight these guys. All right, fine. I'm gonna get you a dragon. I'm gonna get you Big Chungus the dragon."
Which here's the thing. Let's be 100% clear. I actually have no problem with Chubby Dragon. I don't even have a problem with Chubby Dragon rolling end over end like a beach ball. That's actually okay. My problem is Red Dragon reduced to unthinking mook, when anyone who actually plays D&D knows that dragons are ancient, if you're unlucky, brilliant, cunning, and dangerous. Okay? The fact that the closest we get to the actual depiction of a dragon is a terrible incarnation of Smaug from The Hobbit is a shame.
Well, it's not even that. It's like Smaug's cousin who's missing a couple chromosomes.
We also forgot to mention that.
Wait a minute. I got this.
I forgot to mention the Hobbit thing earlier.
Wait a minute. I got this. So we've got Smaug, right? And then we have...
I've got an accurate picture of the dragon up on screen.
And then Big Chungus Dragon is Smug. Smug the dragon.
Hey, don't insult Figment. Figment's cool. But I also forgot to mention because it was a terrible thing. They did have a Hobbit in here. All of the makeup for the D&D races and the effects were just awful. They were just terrible.
Well, all the Dragonborn aren't just practical effects, but they're clearly a dude wearing a hat.
Real quick, I typed in Down syndrome dragon on Google Images. Not as good as I was hoping for. Ooh, wait.
Well,
this one's good.
Look. When we're closer to the end of the show, I will tell you the tale of Tumbles the Stair Dragon, and you will.
I know about Tumbles the Stair Dragon room. Come on now.
But I know a guy who personally met and was attacked by Tumbles the Stair Dragon.
Oh.
Here we go.
So earlier, when the heroes were assembling to get the magical bullshit device, the barbarian went to meet her husband, who was a halfling, which is, as I was explaining to somebody, part of the stereotype of 5th edition players. They have weird fetish shit that comes into their game.
Can we also mention that said husband not only, like,
Was a
broke
bad
up-
special effect.
Well, yeah, but not only broke up with her, but we don't hear about any kind of divorce settlement, right? But then promptly hooked up with another dumber barbarian chick.
Hmm?
And then when asked about it, his response was basically, "She makes me feel better about myself because I'm not staying at home worrying if she's gonna die."
Also,
Which
she's
is-
not a thief.
Which is like, oh wow, so we're both judging them for being a thief, and we're judging them in the same way that we judge cops.
I don't know
Nice.
I don't know how you guys ever thought that any geek like media would ever expose any strange fetishes or anything. Picture's not related, by the way.
No. Like
I'm
for
just
5th
gonna,
edition players, for 5th edition players, you got this. You got the vaguely bisexual tiefling. You got the giant woman, small man fetish.
Yeah, death by snoo snoo.
Green
by
green
Susan.
M&M.
well, and again, as Larry pointed out, the FX themselves are terrible. Okay, you have a house for a human with a halfling living in it. The halfling presumably has been living here long enough. He should have either adjusted the furnishings, or he should have his own set of furnishings, right? So no effort is made to actually make him look like he fits in this house. He's
Or you
just
should
a
have like one of
tiny,
those booster chairs, like little
Just a-
kids have.
right. He's just a tiny man in a big house, right? And because of how they did it with CGI rather than practical effects, what you get instead of a halfling is a skinny tiny dude next to a buff big chick. It looks really wrong. It almost looks like childlike. Like,
Yes.
I'm a big woman and here is my, 12-year-old man baby. It's really fucking weird.
It is. So the characters get the magical bullshit device. The DMPC saves them from Chungus the dragon, but Chris Pine's character does come up with a smart way to deal with the dragon, because like going, listen, we're trapped here.
Oh,
Even if we kill the dragon, we're going to be in a tunnel.
You
So
did
what if we make
forget-
the dragon
You did
explode?
forget one other thing, Larry.
Hmm.
Remember, not only is the DMPC from Thay, because clearly the DM likes Thay, right? But he's a
Hmm.
proud person of color, and Chris Pine doesn't like Thay because Thay killed his wife. So it's
His wife was also a person of color. Don't forget.
So it's also about Chris Pine overcoming his racism using Thay by proxy, because he just doesn't like black dudes, but he got that jungle fever.
Mhm. Exactly.
Never mind, of course, that their daughter is not any kind of mixed race child at all, and he's just some white little girl with dark hair.
I don't know.
No,
I mean,
no.
I've seen lots of mulatto-y girls who look like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
So they make Chungus the dragon explode, and then they
in a way
swim up.
that does not mechanically work.
Doesn't mechanically work, but you know what? I would allow it in a situation like that, because clearly this whole mission, the Underdark, was a huge failure.
Mills Lane will allow it.
And so they make it to the beach. The DMPC walks away. They go to the next session. All right. So, Sorcerer, I want you to roll to attune to the magic item.
Isn't it lucky that they blew a hole in the cavern to such a degree they could get out? And isn't it lucky that they were all able to swim to the beach and nobody drowned? And isn't it super lucky that, like, the land didn't subsist and they weren't just buried alive?
If you were in charge of that game, somebody would have drowned.
Possibly.
And so the next session starts, and the Sorcerer critically fails his attempt to attune to the item. And then he critically fails again. What's going on here?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, yeah, that is appropriate from the Iron Sheet. And then he critically fails a third time, and the DM decides, well, we're going to have this be about him wrestling with his tragic backstory, which is the fact that he's the least successful person in his family of magic users.
Well, wait a minute. Let's be extra clear, because they don't. Oh, wait. His backstory doesn't cover it. Are either of his parents elves?
They don't talk about the elf stuff.
Right. They don't actually talk about the fact he's a half elf. So it's like, is he the least successful member of his family in a family of half elves? who are already less successful at things than their elven parentage?
Or
Or
their
is he-
human parents.
Right. Or is he the least successful at things for anyone, and he's basically the dumbest sorcerer ever made? Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
they kind of hint to him just being the worst sorcerer from his family lineage in his weird vision things?
Right, but the thing is, since they do nothing with that family lineage, it actually doesn't fucking matter.
And so Chris Pine has to roll Bardic Inspiration because the party's kind of dejected that all their plans have gone to garbage.
No. He has to roll Pratt Inspiration.
Yeah.
He has
He
to
says,
chant.
listen,
He has to channel
listen.
the other better Chris.
listen, guys, we all suck, right? But if we stop, trying, then we failed forever. So we need to continue trying. So they use a magic item, and I was pretty sure that's not how the magic item actually worked in D&D. Thankfully, Rune was there to confirm that to me. But they made the magic item basically the portal gun from Portal, which is not a bad idea for a magic item. And so they deposit something into the treasure caravan because, as was pointed out, they're trying to keep people from stealing stuff. They're not going to stop anybody from putting something in.
Isn't it lucky no one noticed them do this? Isn't it lucky that no one was in that fucking carriage?
I mean, look, guards had shit for passive perception scores.
I mean, that's lucky.
And then they go into Neverwinter, and picture falls on the ground. So it's like, oh no, you can't use the hole. So that means that the sorcerer has to do the thing. And so the team splits up. The barbarian chick fights a bunch of people in a fight that doesn't really matter.
The fight that exists only for her to get a magical axe in a way that does not make magical weapons.
Yeah. I mean,
Because,
it doesn't even really imply it's magical. It just looks.
I mean, look, guys. No. It turns to fire when she uses it later. Just remember, guys. If you want something to be magical, just put it in lava, and when you pull it out, it becomes fire now.
Look, guys, I thought she did a really good job reprising her role from Lost. Let's just stop giving her such a hard time.
No, she was fine in this movie. And so then Chris.
No, I don't think you get it. I don't think she thought she was in a movie. I just thought they were like, this is the last episode of Lost. And
I mean,
just go do your thing.
This made more sense than anything J.J. Abrams has ever made. And so,
so this is the fourth Star Trek movie then?
Exactly. So the tiefling gets into the hole, finds out that the con man who took over the city is actually using the city to steal epic levels of money. The sorcerer and the barbarian break into the vault, and it turns out that the vault was a trap for thieves, which is actually the smart way to do this plot. If it weren't for the fact that they were trying to sell this as a heist movie, all the promotional material, and it was full of lies. And Chris Pine's daughter was actually polymorphed of the evil wizard. And then Chris Pine's character goes, I want to make a bluff roll. Okay, what are you doing? I'm going to try to convince him to let us go in the games. What? Natural 20. Okay, well, you got to roll it on the evil wizard too. Natural 20 again. She says it's a great idea. I mean, fine, sure. Are you going to be in a magical arena? You're going to have to fight a weird displacer. You're going to have to fight a displacer beast without any magical items. Although, by the way, my buddy Tom, who I've talked to Rune about a lot, he actually made up for D&D a weird displacer beast, which is amusing to me. But anyway, so it's a really complicated maze thing, which doesn't matter because it's a swerve. And they introduced the characters from the D&D cartoon in the 80s. And in my headcanon, they win the game because of the whole thing with the necromancer screwing with everything. So they get to be the last champions of the game.
Well, they were officially in the get out spot. So they actually succeeded at the target of we got to get out of here.
I mean, they of course succeeded in one way, but apparently the trick was, well, just go inside a gelatinous cube. What? Yeah, go inside a gelatinous cube. But that's not how gelatinous cubes work. Well, I mean, then I guess you could just eat it. What?
Well, look, you can actually eat a gelatinous cube.
Mm.
It's actually in an old adventure or dragon magazine. I forget which. You can. It's described as snarfings. You can eat a gelatinous cube. It is made of gelatin. It just might not be very appetizing. That is old lore.
And then they steal the treasure barge. They're about to escape, and then the necromancer does a ritual for extreme necromantic bullshit.
Well, Larry, you jumped a problem, which is relative to a joke Church made earlier about a snake going up a guy's butthole.
Oh yeah, no.
Right.
The druid turns into a snake in the
I wasn't joking.
cube. And the problem is, you have less hit points when you polymorph or wild shape into something. So the snake would just be dead because it would have been digested faster. And then she uses that to start pulling people out of the gelatinous cube. And again, if I seem to recall correctly, that's not how that really works with the gelatinous cube either. If you try to pull them out with your hands, it can suck you in.
Well,
Yeah, it can.
Well, here's another little facet of this. Because I'm a nerd and I play D&D. They have a piece of stone on top of the gelatinous cube to hold it in place, right? But it's open air on every other side but the bottom that it's sitting on. Gelatinous cubes are boneless suspensions of fluid. It's not held at all. It can just squoogle free and go wherever it wants, which means if you try to escape, it will move to keep eating you because it's not going to give up food.
Yep. So they find the ship where Hugh Grant's going to steal the treasure, and then they leave. Necromantic bullshit ritual happens, and then Chris Pine goes, "Wait, I've totally made a pump, so it's going to give everybody the money. So we're going to use the portal gun to give all the treasure to the people, so they get out of the arena, so that they don't have necromantic bullshit cast on them. And then we're going to do the Avengers boss fight at the end
For no reason.
for no reason, because the evil necromancer lost. She's not going to be able to turn the city into an army of undead. She's got to leave. She's got to F off.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's literally the title of this film is Honor Among Thieves, although we never see them thieve, not really. We never see them prove they have honor. They don't actually get in the situation where it's like, we don't owe these people anything, but it's the right thing to do. They just randomly decide, oh, well, I mean, here I am on the treasure barge. I've got all the money, and I've got my daughter, and I could just leave, and it's not my fucking problem.
Also, I can bring back my dead wife.
Right. And they just are like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go get the bad witch too. Not even for vengeance. They don't even do it because it's like, well, that bitch ruined my life. Let's go fuck her up. They just do it because.
And then the fight ends with the druid as an owlbear doing the Hulk from the Avengers movie. Not, decapitating the undead witch because, they're undead. Decapitation is one of the key things for that sort of undead. Cutting off its head, putting its head in a hacky sack, taking that hacky sack somewhere else.
Right.
And then the movie ends on Hugh Grant's character trying to get paroled, and then he tries to escape, but doesn't because they blocked off the window with a brick wall.
Right. He tries to get out of jail and then tries to escape the exact same way they did at the beginning of the movie, because that's a funny reference. Haha. Meanwhile, everything bad that was done was undone, so nobody lost anything except, of course, for the dead wife. And the heroes got their Return of the Jedi medals from the state for saving Neverwinter, because that absolves them of all of their crimes.
I mean, probably.
But it is worth pointing out that the thing they originally went to prison for, they actually fucking did. They also actually fucking broke out. They actually also fucking stole horses more than once. They actually did steal a ship. They assaulted guards who were just doing their jobs, who then got murdered. They actually commit a lot of crimes and are never held accountable for any of them.
Hey,
I
they
mean,
were in jail at
yeah.
the beginning.
Again, they did prevent the whole city of Neverwinter from being turned into zombies.
Which only
Did they
would
stop
have
the
happened-
Usos from running around to the ring in the middle of the most epic Roman Reigns
No.
match in the last year?
No.
No, they
Mhm.
didn't. So
Because Roman Reigns is still the Universal Champion
what?
and probably will be until the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Well, that's BS.
No, they're going to give him a 1,000-day reign.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Especially considering the WWE's coming in a new ownership. But let me move the ball forward a little bit. I want to talk about what, in my opinion, this movie did well. First of all of the main characters were well cast. Even the sorcerer, he was well cast for his part. He did his performance as well. His I'm manning up moment was well. Everybody did a good performance.
It was good to sleep too. Can't take that away from it.
The character of the DM's girlfriend
Would you
was
would
also
you call
pretty good.
this would you call this a sleeper hit, Church?
The character of the DM's girlfriend, I actually liked her performance. I would like to have seen more of her.
Hey, Cross.
I would have liked to have seen more of the character of Chris Pine's plot device daughter, because she also is a pretty good actress. I could have stood to see less of the witch. I could have seen more of Hugh Grant doing a Jeremy Irons impression.
Well, he was doing
That
a
was-
Jeremy Irons. He was doing a Jeremy Irons impression by way of Jeff Goldblum, because that's the real issue with that particular character, is that he was just being the master from Thor Ragnarok.
I would have preferred to see Jeff Bridges acting like Hugh Grant, acting like Jeff Goldblum.
I mean, if we're gonna go that far,
Larry,
if that-
put that into your AI art generator.
I mean,
and let's
if
see
we
what it makes.
if we go that far, I want to see Jeff Dunham manipulating a puppet of Jeff Bridges, being Jeff, being just down the line.
I also think this movie was made intentionally, and I know somebody who has connections with the producers.
as
so I could
opposed
say-
to being made by accident.
No, it was made intentionally as a love letter to
Okay.
5th edition and its fans.
My pants fell down. I slipped, fell, and fucked up into a D&D movie.
But no, this was the movie that Hasbro wanted to make. But I don't believe this
Wait a
is
minute.
the movie
Wait a
that
minute, Larry.
Hasbro needed to make.
Larry, are you saying that Hasbro literally did, in fact, want their pants to fall down, to slip, to fall, and to land dick
After-
first on a D4? Because that's
after
not a
finding
good
out-
idea.
After
I mean,
finding
they
out
already-
this movie is an accident, I'm now pro-choice.
They already did that with the whole 1D&D debacle. So they've already had their pants down.
Right.
What this movie did do good was non-human races, especially the fucking tabaxi. Those fucking cats are gonna
I mean-
haunt my dreams.
I mean, here's the thing. I do think it's a toss-up, because you got to go. Which one's worse? The Dragonborn that look like they're wearing cardboard fish heads, or the Tabaxi that's clearly a fucking puppet that they didn't do the legs to have bendable knees?
And
To
you
say
know,
nothing of the fact that scene was fucking furry fetish fuel from a hellscape.
Look, I thought I asked you to lay off of Michelle Rodriguez's character.
and realistically, I think you could have gone to a furry con and gotten some people in their fursuits that would look better than what they had there.
that is sadly fucking true. You could have gone to a sports ball arena and gotten mascots that would have looked better.
Yeah. There
Did you
weren't
say
enough
Sports
dwarves.
ball arena.
He said
I
sports
did,
ball.
in fact. I did, in fact.
There were not enough dwarves in this movie.
There was exactly one dwarf. And he got fucking wrecked by a displacer beast because he's an idiot.
There needed to be more dwarves. And I think the story was bad because the story didn't know what it wanted to be.
Well, there were insufficient dwarves. That's already a mark against it.
It needs to go in the Book of Grudges.
It does.
The story really didn't know what it wanted to be. If they had made the story Ocean's 11 but D&D, it would have been a lot better. They had all the components there, but we're gonna throw in a necromancer plot because lots of first-time DMs throw in a necromancer plot because they're lazy.
As we saw in the news article earlier, that necromancy was never going to work.
No.
Well, there are two things actually, because I'm going to use their primary influence as their example. They wanted to do an MCU, okay, right? They said we want to do a Guardians of the Galaxy, okay. When you watch Guardians 1, when you watch the beginning of Guardians 1, right? Yes, Star-Lord is funny. Yes, Drax is funny. Yes, Rocket and Groot are funny. But in their specialties, they are actually very good at what they do. They're funny, but they're good at what they do.
They're not fuck-ups.
In this film,
you're not allowed to make jokes if you're not good at what you do.
In this film, what they decided to do
that's not a joke. I mean that.
Like, no, I know.
If you're walking around a job site cracking jokes and you can't fucking...
You better be damn good at what you're cracking jokes about.
Yeah. Well, at what you're supposed to be doing, because there's a lot of comedians out of work and this motherfucker's over here telling jokes.
But here's the thing, is they're doing a Guardians of the Galaxy, but D&D, right? And they told us in the information leading up, they said, we're going to emasculate our heroes, right? Now, of course, everyone assumed that meant the men only, but it actually affects everyone. Every character is an idiot the entire way down. No one is good at their job, right? And that itself is the fallacy. Because if you want me to believe... Why
should we care?
Well, here's the thing. If you want me to believe that Chris Pine is actually a brilliant strategist, right? But that he's down on his luck, he's depressed because his wife is dead, and he's made some bad decisions, right? Then when he's up to the we got to make a plan stage, I need a fucking brilliant plan. Show me he's actually brilliant. At every stage, when they could have done something good, they said, let's half-ass it and make a joke instead. And we know what that is. That's called Marvel Phase 5, and it doesn't fucking work.
Obviously, it doesn't work. It's how we've run this show for 4 years now.
Right, but every so often, one of us, and it's not always me. Sometimes it's Ayrton, sometimes it's Larry, sometimes it's Church. And Church, of course, you have some of the best occasions of this. The comedy will fall away and you will get serious about something and everybody will stop for 5 minutes and be like, yeah, I can see what you're getting at. You are really passionate about this material. At no time were these characters meaningfully passionate about the material to hand.
No.
Right? As a for instance, it's just as a for instance, they really do want to press that Chris Pine cares about his daughter. That's great, right? And he certainly says it enough times in film, right? But at no time...
The scene with the mittens was heartfelt.
Right. But what I'm saying is that in a later scene, when Hugh Grant has the daughter up with a knife against her throat, there was an opportunity for Chris Pine's character to be like, if you kill my daughter, I will kill you, right? And really sell how fucking livid he is before he does his creative trickery, and they didn't even approach it. They didn't have that happen because this is a family-friendly movie and we can't have people having real emotions.
Mm-hmm. So Ayrton, Church, do you have anything you want to add to that anal cyst of the movie?
So
do we have to remove the anal cyst when we're done?
No, it's staying in.
Well, they did go into an orifice in this movie. Don't forget.
So,
God,
yeah, it was Kevin Hart. I talked about that.
So,
wait, why okay, look, I'm fine with this, but why does Kevin Hart have a big Chungus dragon stuffed inside him? Are we back to the title? Actually, I
Everybody's
gotta
got to
ask,
have a
what
head
did
cannon,
you,
Rune.
Ayrton, what did you title this show?
He
It's
didn't, I did.
Yeah, church title it D&Don't.
Oh, okay. I was hoping, since you were just making that joke, that you really did counsel it, the Council of Bad Dragon.
No,
I
no.
so
I'm that depraved.
I think people in our Rumble audience should Google Council of Bad Dragon and see what images come up.
oh god. All right, I guess I'm gonna do that while I give my closing bit.
Oh God,
So-
no.
So, yeah, I think I alluded to my idea change for the movie to make it better,
Mhm.
but I actually came up with something better than that I didn't tell you guys because I
A
wanted to
better,
get your,
better than the better.
yeah.
Okay.
So that whole ending bit that we all hated, right?
Hmm.
So picture like the little fade out thing where you were like, oh, this isn't the end yet. They do the stupid shit. So instead of that stupid shit, does the fade out, and then it fades in to five people, sitting at a table at somebody's house, like in costumes, playing, and the guy who was playing as Chris Pine's character has like a 7-year-old daughter who's sitting on his lap, who this was her first time playing D&D because she wanted to do something with her dad, and there's like a cute little kind of interaction there. And I think that one little change would have made all of the stuff that you guys hated in this movie a little bit better.
I mean,
Because you're seeing it from a child's perspective, playing it for the first time, and this was her kind of imagining everything that was
Well,
happening.
I think you said it, or maybe Larry said it, that this film would have been better served to be structured like Princess Bride. Now, I'm gonna say something.
That was there.
I did say that originally, but then I had this idea
Well, here's the
as
thing.
we were watching.
I'm
the
gonna say
movie.
something incredibly unpopular. I don't care for the Princess Bride that much. Now, the reason isn't because it's a bad movie. It's a great movie, right? But I have been exposed to the jokes enough times that they no longer draw a major chuckle out of me. However,
the jokes aren't really the heartfelt parts of the movie.
The thing is, the framing device of that film was never bad. I don't have a problem with Fred Savage sitting in his sick bed and his grandpa Columbo reading to him. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rune, do you
Just
have
one
an
more
alternate-
thing. Let me just ask you one more question.
So Rune, do you have an alternate version of this movie in your head?
Yes.
Well, real quick, what do you guys think of my idea for an ending for reframing the whole movie?
I think, well, what I was getting at is I think that the movie should have been bookended in that way. If you were going to keep most of the movie the same and the same tone, and the emphasis is on the idea that it's a game, then you put it on both ends like that.
See, I kind of like just putting it at the end, though. So, like, you're watching it and you're kind of like wondering, like, what the hell is this? And then you kind of like it kind of brings it around and kind of wraps
The
it up
studio
for
says
you.
you're going to confuse the audience.
Well, because the thing is that I have a indie movie, a little student film, right? That is basically that. It's people playing D&D where their D&D game is then acted out, right? So all of the interruptions and all of the table content is there, and it's fun, it's cute, right? I also have the Darkest Dungeons movie. If anybody wants to watch that sometime, we can watch a Jack Trick movie come to life.
I don't know. I want to watch Tommy Wiseau's new movie, Big Shark.
I mean, don't you understand, Ayrton, that like your character is dead, so you don't exist anymore? You better go hang yourself in your dorm room, because D&D is a gateway to Satanism.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
But so Rune, do you have an alternate idea for how this movie should have been made?
Yes. Instead of a Forgotten Realms film, because you could actually keep all the bits, I would have postulated you lay out the multiverse as a concept, the D&D multiverse, which has always existed, and then you lay out the world you're on, right? And you basically establish that this is the Hasbro TM, D&D TM cinematic campaign setting. TM. So now you are no longer bound to certain restrictions and expectations by grognards, and you are no longer required to meet certain benchmarks because it's your own world. You got your own. You got your originality support, right? Then you can make it all 5e. You can make it a love letter to all the things you like about 5e, and the movie more or less doesn't change, right? But it also is no longer restricted or hemmed in by the idiocy of the setting it's in. It no longer has to be Faerun. Anything that's wrong isn't a glaring mistake. It's just, oh, that's kind of nice, normal. All right. And the comparison that got made, the comparison that's come up more than once in conversation, is Your Highness. The early 2000s stoner comedy, right? That's a unique fantasy land, and a comedy, and a stupid comedy at that. But it's an able depiction of D&D at the table that doesn't insult the intelligence of its viewers, because everybody knows that the dick jokes and the drug jokes are exactly what you get at the table, right? Because the only other option, if you're not going to replicate at the table, is do a serious fucking fantasy setting and a serious fantasy film. And you know they're not going to do that either.
So let me tell you my version of this movie. So my version of this movie opens up with a bunch of kids hanging out in an abandoned amusement park playing Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, they're hanging out in the abandoned Dungeons and Dragons roller coaster ride.
I mean, we've seen that car ad, right? Is that where you're going with this? Are we just doing that car ad?
We're not just doing that car ad, but I mean, we can't use those characters because of legal issues, but we're going to use the basic concept of it. So there's a group of people ranging from 20 to 13 playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then they go to the world of Dungeons and or Dragons, right? There's an immortal wizard there who has summoned these heroes to help him. And they're like going, well, screw you, old man. You took us from our world. You made us into these Dungeons and Dragons things. And he's like, well, yeah, you were playing the game. You wanted to be these characters. So I made you into them. So you have the paladin character.
Oh, shit! Larry, we know who the DM is. We know why this movie sucks.
Is it Ben Shapiro?
The characters from the D&D cartoon are in the movie. The little red wizard guy in the cartoon is the dungeon master. That means the dungeon master for this movie was the little red fucker from the cartoon who makes a bad campaign.
So, but back to my fan movie idea. So you got the character who's the paladin who likes to play the goody guy, but he's not really the goody guy. He's kind of a bit of an asshole. I mean, he's a teenager, so of course he's a bit of an asshole. But inside, he's the good person. So his character arc in the movie is he actually gets to become the person on the outside that he has always been in the inside. And you have the hot, popular cheerleader girl who's playing D&D, playing like the thief, because she doesn't really like being popular and all that stuff. But she learns that she can be whatever she wants to be because she's skillful, she's capable, and she's able to do things. You got, the popular athlete girl who's the fighter, and, her character arc is, I'm able to kick ass better than guys and stuff. You have Johnny Football Hero character playing a regular fighter dude. You got his kid brother being the barbarian. And you got the wizard, a guy who wants to be the smart, confident, I'm the badass motherfucker all the time, but he's really a dweeb who's, not confident except in like these framed, Dungeons and Dragons type scenarios. And he has to learn to, be the character he's always playing. And then they've encountered the evil immortal wizard asshole who's like going, "Hey kids, listen, that other asshole who brought you here, yeah, fuck that guy. I totally know a magical artifact you can get that'll, bring you back to your home." Of course, it allows him to do evil wizard shit. Because, I mean, he's an evil wizard. Does evil wizard shit. And the kids, they have to make a choice. Do they go home, or do they defeat the evil wizard and save these people and be the goddamn heroes? And they do that. And then the post-credit sequence is they open a door inside, the Citadel of the defeated badass, and they go to Sigil. And they're welcome to the City of Doors, where every door is another world, and another world is another adventure. And that's how you open up the D&D cinematic universe.
I posit to you, in fact, a slight difference. Kind of a shout out to movies of yore. Do you remember the end of Evil Dead 2?
Yes.
Which was then reshot for Evil Dead 1 and not quite as good?
Yes.
So the kids beat the evil wizard. The evil wizard's tower begins to collapse. They have to GTFO, so they literally jump through a door. Because wherever it is, it's not here. Right? They land in Sigil, as often happens. Right? And the movie ends with them getting surrounded by a group of heavily armored figures called the Mercy Killers. Because it's one of those fun jokes that people don't remember. You know how the alignment system, right? In Sigil, lawful, whether lawful good or lawful evil, doesn't matter. Lawful is pretty fucking authoritarian. And the police of Sigil are called the Mercy Killers. And nobody wants to get held up by the Mercy Killers because they do not recognize things like situation or precedent or I was forced. They are Judge Dredd in magic, and there is only the law. And the law says you just jumped into Sigil without paperwork. You're going to the cubes.
Yep. But that is that's my alternate take of the movie. But if Hasbro,
Church, what the fuck is this?
I'm playing as a level.
I'm playing as a level 12 pile of dust.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, he had disintegrate cast on him, but it brought him to 0 HP. So he disintegrated into a fine dust. But the spell doesn't specify that it kills you like Power Word Killer Beholder's Death Ray. So I made a death saving throw per the rules for characters at 0 HP. I ended up stable, never actually died per the written rules. So now play the fine pile of dust.
Scroll all the way down, Church.
What the hell are you talking about?
But that would have been
That's
how
I'd remake the movie.
But if Hasbro were to tell me, no, you can't be that awesome, I'd say fine. We do Ocean's 11 in Dungeons and Dragons. Chris Pratt gets a team. You get some dwarves, get some elves, gets a half orc, gets a gnome, gets a halfling, and they all rob that asshole Hugh Grant.
Actually, I want to mention Church. It's not that the idea that you want to play a level 12 pile of dust is wrong. It's that I don't think you need to be bringing your Full Metal Alchemist character into my D&D game. There's already an Alphonse Elric, and he's pretty awesome.
Do you guys want to hear how I would do this atrocity of a
yes.
movie?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they already have the perfect scripts written out for it. Because you go to a little place that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast already have full ownership of, called Dominaria, and you just take the trappings of the Magic the Gathering world you've already created, sprinkle a little D&D wordplay in there, and well, you make a serious goddamn movie because I'm sick of fucking comedies that aren't funny.
Right. So literally the title of your movie is Dungeons and Dragons, Dominaria hyphen
And then
name
the
of
sequel,
something.
well, no, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons Dominaria, all the way up to Dungeons and Dragons Dominaria: The Brothers War.
Right.
Then Phyrexia
all right.
and
Wait,
Ravnica.
let's roll back. Let's roll back here. So, it's hyphen Weatherlight Chronicles. Then the sequel is Dungeons and Dragons : Dominaria: The Phyrexian Invasion. Right, and then the third one would be whatever the fuck happens with oh shit, his name's on the back of my head. I've got his fucking power plant. Urza pushing back Phyrexia for now. Because you want to end your trilogy on the window for a potential second trilogy.
Well, there are three. There back in the day, there used to be 3 sets per block. So I don't understand why you don't just keep that naming system. I think it was oh god, it was Invasion, Apocalypse.
Invasion is actually when I got on board, so that works.
It was Invasion, Apocalypse, and something else.
But with that in mind, I will agree with you on this, Church, because if somebody goes, well, there's nothing there for Hasbro, it's not kid friendly. No, his name is Squee, and he is one of the best characters in Magic.
Well, yeah, I mean, first off, you have so many faucets of monetization because not only by using a medium like the movies and attempting to copy the success of Marvel, which no one's ever going to do, but attempting
Not even
to,
Marvel anymore.
You're going to at least draw in some people who don't play Magic and don't play D&D. However, you're revitalizing these franchises and these older stories, and you're giving a tie-in to revisiting some of those older stories in Magic the Gathering and fleshing out D&D campaigns for these places.
In matter of point, relative to my ramble, if you were a Hasbro exec and you wanted to make $1 million because you were halfway intelligent, right? You do the Weatherlight, you do the references to all the old material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then, instead of putting Lord of the Rings on Magic cards, I would make Magic card D&D cards the same thing.
But then, right, when you do your Squee, you make your Squee cute and toyable, so you can get that stuffed Squee, and you make Squee the next Grogu.
You're thinking entirely too small. I'm seeing Lego sets of power armor and Weatherlight.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying that, like, the Mandalorian's not doing so hot, and Star Wars overall is not doing so hot, but people still love Baby Yoda and are still theorizing about Baby Yoda.
You don't even have to go as far as Squee. You release a special edition Goblin Bombardment plushie.
Oh yeah.
That's just a bomb with a goblin on it that you throw around at people.
Well, because you can separate the goblin from the bomb. You can throw the bomb as separate.
With a little piece of Velcro, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes 10-15 cents to manufacture in China, and you sell it for $25.
And I just want to throw out there that since Wizards is not making it, let's make a goblin with time bomb plushie, Church, and sell that on our store. Because they don't own.
I know somebody that makes plushies.
They don't own Time Bomb, they don't own Goblin, and they can't own the two things put together as long as it is visually distinct.
But yeah,
look at Rune out here with the grift.
I'm just saying, man, if WotC's going to leave the money on the table and Hasbro's too stupid to pick it up because they'd rather make shitty D&D movies, we should pick it up and run with it.
But no, the material's already there. You come back swinging with new modules for places like Dominaria and Ravnica. You know, creatures like Nicol Bolas. Holy shit, how awesome of a fucking D&D villain would it be to fight Nicol Bolas?
I mean,
and these people aren't sick and tired of him because they haven't been playing around him for 20 years.
Well, here's the thing of it, because we know they're not going to do it. So let's talk about what they could do if they had brains. Okay, let's assume that history follows as it has. So they made this shit movie, right? They made Honor Among Thieves, and people don't like it.
Well. According to my source,
Right.
It's doing very well the first weekend. And when I said to him, yeah, but D&D as a brand is so big of a brand, it's going to have a good first weekend. Does it have a big drop off the cliff for weekend 2? And he's like
Right.
going, that's a legitimate point. But it's
Right.
doing so well on weekend 1, they're already putting together the stuff together for a sequel.
Right. But here's the thing: what you do
Well,
for your sequel.
Hold on, let me give you some justification for what I just said, because I think
right.
you just kind of brushed over the Nicol Bolas idea.
I did not. I'm about to talk about it. If you give me a minute.
Well, let me sell it real quick.
No, you don't have to sell it. I agree with you. Let me explain the thing. You take this movie as it is. You eat that shit sandwich, right? And then you use the sequel that Larry says they're already planning, right, to recontextualize it. We call it a retcon. Maybe you've heard of these, right? And it's not that your villainess was some idiot wizard of Thay, right? But rather that Thay did a magical experiment, opened up a gateway, and drew to this world an all-powerful arcane dragon who has been manipulating things behind the scenes for years, and his name is Nicol Bolas. And everyone goes, what?
Well, I mean, yeah, you basically make him your Thanos for the first couple of movies,
Right?
but for the people who don't know, Nicol Bolas, this is his entry on fandom.com. It's fairly short.
Can we get a visual of Nicol Bolas so people know what they're looking at?
Oh yeah. We'll get you a visual of old Nick.
I mean, I know what he looks like, but let's do that. I use Nicol Bolas as my avatar on Arena.
Just pull this up for the people here.
Hey, Brian.
There he is.
We got a friend from our OSR. You missed the majority of the review. We're into the how would we do this better. And Church is about to explain his vision for a Dungeons and Dragons Magic the Gathering movie.
So Nicol Bolas, the nameless former planeswalker, once called Nicol Bolas, the youngest and most infamous of the 7 elder dragons that survived the Elder Dragon War. He is also known as the Forever Serpent, the Horned One, the God Emperor of Madara, the Second Son, and the God Pharaoh of Amonkhet.
Amonkhet was pretty sweet.
I mean, he seems like he should be invading Athos. He seems like he'd get along well with the Dragon Kings in Athos.
He would get along well taking over for the Dragon King.
I mean, there's multiple Dragon Kings in Athos. They're all pretty much insane.
His story.
Here's the thing. Nicol Bolas is what the Dragon Kings want to be.
Yeah.
His story was introduced because he decided that he was too powerful and sought out another planeswalker to fight.
Right.
So him and a giant Leviathan got into it because he was bored.
And everybody paid. And yes, Nicol Bolas is up. He's OP. It's okay.
It took every other magically inclined being in the multiverse plotting against him to stop him a little bit.
Well, they want you to think that what the fuck is that group called? The Plains Guard?
The Gatewatch.
The Gatewatch. They want you to think that super team fucking matters when they don't.
Well, not since fucking Garruk Wallet Speaker left.
Well, okay, so you have Garruk Wallet Speaker left and went insane and is a bad guy now. I don't know if he ever got better.
I don't think he did. I think he just disappeared.
You have Blue Card McWizardween, who has plot armor because he's the favorite of a creator who actually works for the company.
Jace the Buttfucker.
Right. Yeah. You've got Goth Girlfriend that they want to replace Fire Girlfriend, and nobody cares about either waifu.
No, right? Chandra and Liliana, neither one get any play.
The real issue here is that
Elspeth, though.
But the real issue here is that the Gatewatch are the Avengers, whereas the Weatherlight team were wizards, and they don't know the
team with a D&D party.
It was a D&D party, but it was a D&D party made up of believable.
That's why it was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah,
That's
there's
why I
really-
don't want a Gatewatch movie. That's why I
Right,
don't want
but
those characters.
but what I'm saying is, they would try a Gatewatch movie. That's where they would go with it.
Yeah, but the thing is when you try and introduce powerful characters like the Planeswalkers, then smaller, less magical, less inclined characters don't matter anymore. I mean, what do I care about an elf who can make her sword catch on fire and inspire entire armies compared to the power of a dude who can just walk in between those realities, snap his fingers, and destroy them?
Right. It's
So,
why there are various
you can
named
have-
characters that have
you
no
c-
significance. Like Kamal
can
was never
have-
going to be important.
You can have pre-mending walkers in the story. Obviously, you have to with a creature like Nicol Bolas. However, you don't get an interesting movie when you put Urza in the story. He can be a background character. He can be in disguise. He can be Raiden of the story. But he can never. We can never have power armor planeswalkers versus Phyrexia as an interesting movie. With
all right,
this
so
setting.
So here's the thing. I'm going to use D&D as our guideline. Okay? Because the problem you're outlining is the problem with Elminster. Okay? Elminster is all powerful. Elminster can actually do anything. There's no reason Elminster needs you. But Elminster is a retiring guy who likes to smoke his weed and sit on the veranda, and he gives adventures to adventurers so that they can have glory too, like a nice grandpa. Bullshit.
Also, Elminster every so often changes his gender because he gets bored.
I don't care about that, Larry. You keep bringing it up. It doesn't matter. He bangs the goddess of magic on the
And
regular.
He also gets banged by dudes when he's a woman.
But
he also bangs the goddess of magic as a woman.
The reason I bring it up is because who you actually want, who is actually how you should do it, is Blackstaff. Blackstaff
is that racist?
No, his name is Blackstaff. He's a dude. He's got his hands in all kinds of things. Why doesn't he do anything publicly?
Yeah, he does.
Why doesn't he do anything publicly? Because he is one among many wizards, and he can't be seen to do anything publicly, or they will act against him.
Hold up, guys. We got some breaking news about the big Chungus dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Timberchaud, the D&D movie's big boy dragon, has a massive backstory in the game. Why is the Underdark deserted? Except it wasn't. Except for a chunky dragon. The answer involves nearly 25 years of lore. So
Bullshit.
wait, are they saying the dragon ate everybody?
Bullshit.
Timberchaud is a red dragon who dwells in Gosterlook, a city of Duragar in the Underdark of the Forgotten Realms setting. If that's too many fantasy nouns for you in one sentence, we can break it down. Forgotten Realms is the most popular. Press X'd out, World for Dungeons Dragons RPG. It's not the most popular, but it's the one that D&D has been spamming for like 3 editions. And the Underdark is a massive subterranean cave system below the surface, home to all kinds of monsters and subterranean species, including the ever-popular Drow, or Dark Elves, the Duragar, also called the Grey Dwarves, are like the Drow dwarves, cold, grim, and work-obsessed.
Cock-sucking, dilettante, dipshit, motherfucker.
They have all the crafting skill of the more familiar fantasy dwarf archetype, but none of the fun. Timberchaud the Dragon first appeared in Drizzt Do'Urden's Guide to the Underdark.
Yeah,
I've read it. Second edition, Dungeons and Dragons, published in 1999 by TSR. This early source, the dragons give it a fascinating role in the city of the young dragon, just under the age of 100. He's described as the wormsmith of.
In case you guys missed that was the city of.
And as a descendant of the previous dragon,
I
same role.
appreciate that every time you guys try to say the name of this city, you just have a stroke instead.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Gluck Gluck 9000.
Its fiery breath lights the forges and tempers the steel produced by the city, and his every whim is attended to by the monastic keepers of the flame.
The official name of the city rune is the sound a woman makes sucking penis.
The dragon's next mention were the perfect accessories for Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition.
Are you sure that's not the sound of an intern working for this movie?
Same thing.
Underdark 2003 and the Dragons of Faerun in 2006. The source is largely blah, 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 blah. And he was in The Abyss, an adventure for 5th edition D&D, but nobody cares. And the computer RPG, Sword Coast Legends, no one cares about that. And the Endless Quest gamebook, Escape from the Underdark in 2018. Nobody cares
Has he ever
about
fought
that.
Dante though? That's what I care about.
No. And apparently, his art was
Worthless.
always chunky.
See, here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem. Just because a character appears in a book doesn't mean anyone gives a shit or anyone used it.
I mean,
No
using
one
multiple
cares
books.
about Chunky Dragon.
We just talked about this actually. See, and I actually have a really good way to explain this. There used to be a character named Kamal that Rune mentioned. His original
Right.
title was Fist of the Croza. He was a warlord clan leader for like a mountain guild.
He was red and then he went green.
And in his quest to save the world from the Mirari, he became a druid, even though he was still a giant badass warlord. And he got some abilities. One of these abilities includes the ability to what we call in the game of Magic Overrun, in which you pay 5 mana and give all your creatures +3/+3 and trample until the end of turn, as its namesake card says. So this was a great card, but nobody cared enough about the character to actually reprint Kamal Fist of Croza for years and years and years. And when that ability was needed to make the extended and standard set more interesting, to make elves a playable faction in a low elf set, they reprinted it functionally as an elf warrior named Izuri, Renegade Leader, and all elves would overrun for 5 mana. So it was functionally worse than Kamal, with the exception that you didn't have to have 7 mana to get it out onto the board, because it only targeted your elf creatures. This thing saw so much fucking play.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit about Kamal. He's an afterthought. However, Izuri, much more played card, brought back 3 times now.
Right. But the thing is here is that this article would have you believe that because this character appeared once or twice, and because it was reused in a couple of places, and because it's established lore, that it matters. Except it doesn't, because
It should have been a beholder.
It only comes up if anyone should happen to use it in their campaign, and every campaign is unique.
You know what? It should have been a beholder.
Nobody plays D&D by the book in a module. That doesn't happen. Why should it have been a beholder?
Oh no, there are people who do that. They're sad people.
We call them sparkle trolls.
Everybody, whether or not you've ever played a game of Dungeons and Dragons, knows what the fuck a beholder is.
Right. No.
Also,
you can make some interesting looking plushies out of, Rune?
No, they've already made interesting looking plushies out of beholders.
Here's the thing. Okay, that's the real problem with this dungeon. All right, from a design standpoint, the dungeon theming is all over the place. We traveled into the Underdark through the orifice, but the dungeon is not fleshy. It's just a gaping meat hole in the woods. Why? Who the fuck knows? Okay, now we're gonna travel through the dungeon. What's the dungeon?
And then it becomes a desert.
No. Then we travel through the dungeon. What's the dungeon? Oh, it's some green gooey shit. Why? Who the fuck knows? Okay, and then we get to where we're looking at. What is it? Oh, it's a big lava pit? Why? Who the fuck knows? Right? And it has a red dragon. Fine. I have no problem with red dragon and fire pit.
But he's chunky.
My question is, why was the rest of the dungeon not a volcanic tube? Why was it not super hot everywhere? If it was going to be fleshy, why wasn't it a flesh dungeon? Because I understand the joke that, oh, the intellect devourers didn't see anybody. No, you want to give somebody some terror. You want to do something cool. You want to do something nobody's ever seen before. Your paladin and your adventuring party get to where he hid the thing just as the mind flayers and their minions are about to open up the area to get at the thing, and then
they fight some mind flayers.
And they fight some fucking mind flayers. That would be interesting.
You know what this movie was missing as a comedy? This movie as a comedy was missing one thing and one thing only, and that is
jokes?
When they had no, don't even need jokes. See, we can take it back before jokes. We can get Benny Hill music and license that out, and then just have them running through a room that looks exactly the same from all sides, like an old school Scooby Doo bit, where they're just like going through fighting the worthless mobs of an early like dungeon.
Schultz!
Yes, Chult. Yes, flashing meat holes is definitely something you'd find in Chult.
It's
But
also
yeah, you know,
something
you
you would
just have 'em-
find in. It was also something you would find in the Red Room and the
Have 'em
Temple
run
of
through.
Flesh.
Have them run through, smack around a few kobolds, maybe a goblin here or there, a couple of rats, and it's just Benny Hill style.
Oh my
because they're
God.
just frustrated with the
Church.
bullshit of Mount. Yeah,
Church, you've got it. The problem with this movie is that they needed to do Galaxy Quest.
right.
Yes.
Why Galaxy Quest? Because you got that bit. There's Tim Allen. There's
I mean, Galaxy Quest is the best Star Trek movie.
it is. But
Tim Allen should have been the lead in this instead of Chris Pine.
that would have been hilarious. But here's the thing: they're on the planet and they're surrounded by the creatures, which could easily be kobolds, and they're all chanting. And it's like, what are they chanting? It's like I don't know. My Draconic's rusty. Well, what is it? They're saying chunk, and then you have Chunky Dragon come out.
Right.
Because the kobolds have summoned their chunky dragon leader. And then while everyone's running away from the dragon, you have them fight the kobolds who want to hold them down and let them get eaten.
Yeah.
That would be a better scene.
So,
And you just cut all audio except for Benny Hill music and have them run
Right.
through doing that.
so guys, I do have a clip that I posted at the beginning of the private chat of how I want to end this with another alternate take on this movie, which I
Okay,
think would
that'll
be
work.
entertaining for our audience.
All right.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh, come on. I already had it loaded and ready. What the fuck?
All right, gentlemen, welcome to the world of Betrayzar. This is where we start our first campaign. How are you all feeling?
Thanks for having us, Ben. I'm excited to be here.
Already, Sleepy Joe isn't already clocked out.
Hey, don't be a dick, Donnie. I got to come up with a cool.
Whatever you choose, it won't compete with my epic fantasy.
Well, we'll see about that, Jack.
I'm going to go with Barack Obama because my spells are the bomb. I love being best class.
The joke was cringe, Barack, but I like its fantasy feel. And Donnie, you're a bard, right?
You know it, Ben.
All right, what's your bard's name?
The Donald.
Of course it is.
I'll give it a pass. And Joe, warrior's name.
I already have the best fantasy name. How about Jolton Joe Biden?
Jesus, Joe, I love you, buddy, but that definitely is your name.
Personally, I love it. All right, let's get started. Get ready. As the group of adventurers enters the town of Kaspareth within the Empire of Itrizar, they hear the sound of a woman screaming in the distance.
We should investigate that immediately.
I think I agree, even though potentially we could run into a dangerous scenario. Perhaps this is how we continue the story at an even faster pace.
I think I know what's going on here. Watch this shit, assholes. I use my bardic powers to seduce the woman.
Donald, what the fuck?
Seriously, Don, you're already onto this?
Not nat 20, baby. And to the surprise of no one, the Donald successfully seduces the woman.
Real heroic there, Donnie.
Hey, I'm just doing what I do best.
An interesting turn of events indeed. The woman the Donald seduced gave you the location of a dangerous group of goblins about to attack a cart of goods.
I'll use my fireball spell to take them out. I'll burn them
Ah!
to a crisp.
Oh, you mean just like the Syrian family? You know what? Never mind.
Oh, and unfortunately, Barack rolls a 3. A critical miscalculation indeed. Unfortunately, his spell misfires and hits Jolton Joe instead.
What the hell, Barack?
Go ahead and pause it.
Yo, I'm sorry it was
That's
my
not
bad,
how
Joe.
those
I didn't-
spells work.
Please elaborate.
Well, if you simply fail to cast, it doesn't misfire in that way. You just fail. Unless you roll the
Well,
1,
no.
but you roll the 3.
That's not why the joke failed. The joke failed is you missed the caravan of goblins, but you hit a wedding. That's the joke. Please
All right, go ahead.
continue.
Didn't mean to.
At least that fireball must have woken your ancient ass up.
Screw you, Donald, and you too, Barack. Now I have to roll strength to survive. Ha, a 12. Is that good?
Yes, Joe, that means you're able to tank the hit with minimal damage.
Now I role play my bardic hymns to once again fix the situation and cause the illegal goblins to leave in fear with my war song.
Donald, you'll need to roll at least a 13 to intimidate with fear using your war cry.
No sweat. Watch it. Holy shit. Barely scraped by with a 13, dead on the money.
You got lucky this time, Doughball.
All right, guys, we have one final task before we can wrap up this campaign for the night. We need to make it to Dionysus Tavern and acquire his special brew to help us loosen the mood and get ready for our grand adventure.
Right, but how do we get there?
Fear not, my dear comrades, for I, the Bard of Bards, the Supreme Donald, have gathered all the knowledge of this town.
Jesus.
How'd they get this
you
audio?
One woman and feared some goblins.
Yeah,
I
Bob.
think you're Jesus himself.
You sure it's not just from reading the labels on the Budweisers?
No, I'm pretty sure this is real.
Trust me, Joe. My knowledge knows no bounds.
All right, Donnie, roll for investigation.
18. Hell yeah.
Well, I'll be damned. Sorry for doubting.
Nice job. You managed to find the tavern without any trouble. Entering the tavern, you're met with dozens of people. The aroma of fresh stew, delicious turkey, and most importantly, Diana's special brew of itrays and alcohol.
This place is packed.
This is like that time me and Orange Peel over here got into that big bar brawl. Except we had to settle for some crappy beer and stale chips instead of all the delicious food.
Yeah, Joe. Because nothing says fun night out like getting into a bar brawl. You're lucky I didn't end your senile ass when that happened.
Gentlemen, let's just enjoy the game. Ben, please continue.
Thank you, Barack. All right, where was I? Ah, yes. The brewmaster and tavern keep Dianus walks up to your party and says, "Hello there, adventurers. Haven't seen you around here before. What can I get you?"
I tell Master Dianus that we're on a quest to meet his most special brew to help us on our journey.
All
Master
time for a
Zionist,
charisma
what?
Check to see what happens. Oh, and a 14. Dianus gratefully helps your party, telling you that this is his favorite, but warns you it's extremely strong.
We can handle it.
Yeah, you think Big D Donald over here can't handle a damn pint?
Yeah, it reminds me of the time back in 1770 when me and Georgia used to drink fresh Cokes out of the
Joe, please take your meds.
Dianus pours the brew and slides the mugs across the bar. The group takes a sip, and their faces contort in surprise. Now, you all have to roll for Constitution after consuming this brutal ale. I caution you, though. Anything below a 10 will result in temporary incapacitation due to the strength of this brew.
Whew, Jesus, I barely squeaked out with an 11.
Wait, what do I do? Oh, roll. My bad, guys. I was distracted. Fuck. I got a 6.
Joe, wake the fuck up. The game's almost over. Then it's time to go out to eat.
All right, now we're just waiting for you, Barack.
Praise the almighty Scarlet King. Please grant me luck. Ha, hell yeah, a 17. I'm a heavyweight compared to you bitch boys.
Uncalled for.
Watch it, Barack. You're on thin ice.
All right, fellas. And with those rolls, Donald is incredibly intoxicated, but still helps Barack Obama carry the unconscious Jolton Joe Biden on your way out of the inn. On the way out, Dianus can be seen with his pet bear waving to you outside the tavern, wishing you good luck. With that, we must conclude this session of today's journey fueled with Dianus' special brew.
This shit's too easy for me.
And so, our adventure comes to an end for the time being. Our heroes have begun their long journey on the road to helping save the Empire from its impending great threat. We shall continue this gaming next session. Should be a blast, right, boys?
That was fucking amazing.
Agreed. We should definitely do this again sometime. Even with all the bickering, this shit is mad fun.
Yeah, but maybe we should stick to playing games where we don't accidentally attack each other, though, Blind Barack.
Hey, watch it, Sleepy Joe. It probably only hit you because your dumbass was sitting still.
So where are we going to eat after this?
Personally, I prefer the classic atmosphere of Cracker Barrel. I appreciate the rustic vibe and old shit they have in there. Reminds me of my days back in 1865 on my dad's field.
All right, well, I'll just ignore that and say, how about we go to the Sonic drive-thru?
Sounds good to me.
I still like Cracker Barrel, but I'm up for anything, so that works.
Statistically, at Sonic, if you don't get a shake, you're a fucking moron. I love Sonic so much, so I'm happy we're going there, but I will say this. Anyone here who doesn't get a shake or slushy is highly probable to be brain dead.
All right, fuck yeah, I'll drive. Let's go.
All right, that was fun. The trend is
I like
off,
I like
though.
I like your updated avatar image there, Church.
Fuck yes. Wait till you see me play Magic, boys. I use a deck full of beautiful, beautiful walls.
All right, give me a minute. I need to do a thing while we're sitting around chilling. Continue to goob.
He's gonna be
I mean, I
Ben
think-
Shapiro.
I mean,
Oh,
I
God,
I
no.
can see it now.
mean, I
think-
think we're about done, Rune.
Because I mean, it's almost 1 in the morning, and I do have to go to work.
No, I have. I will grant you that Church's avatar is good, but mine is better.
All right, fair play on that. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.